Hello everyone, welcome to Voxcel. In this video, we're gonna discuss reading passage 1 of test 1, which is taken from IELTS Academic Book 18. Without further ado, let's start. So the title of the passage says urban farming. In Paris, urban farmers are trying a soil-free approach to agriculture that uses less space and fewer resources. Could it help cities face the threats of our food supplies? So from the title of the passage, it's quite clear that this passage is basically about urban farming. So it's a new type of farming because as we all know, mostly farming is done in which kind of areas? Yes, rural areas. Clear? Now we are trying to do farming in cities. Urban farming, in short, you can say farming done in cities. So they are saying that in Paris, these farmers, urban farmers, they're trying a soil-free approach. Now we are not using soil to grow food, to grow vegetables or fruits, whatever it is. So we are not using soil to grow our food, we are using soil free approach. So in this particular passage, what's the benefit of reading the title? It will help us to understand what kind of information there may be in the passage. So maybe the information is regarding how to do this particular kind of farming, what are the things needed to do this particular kind of farming, or why there is need to promote this kind of farming. Now there are two chances: maybe this kind of information is available, maybe along with this some other information is available, or entirely something else is given. What is the benefit of reading the title and trying to understand the passage? It will help us to activate our inner vocabulary. So we will, when we will read the passage, we will not get bored or we will not be shocked. So I have heard students say that they are bored when they read certain kind of passages. So it will help your mind to first prepare itself so that it can read this kind of information without getting bored. I hope you understand. Now what we are gonna do? Yes, we're gonna go straight to the questions, look at what kind of questions we are dealing with, and then make a strategy. After that, we will start reading the passage. So if you look at the instruction words, let me choose the color. So if you will see, we have questions 1 to 13. So right hand side we have got our questions. So questions 1 to 3. Complete these sentences below. Basically fill in the blanks. Choose no more than two words and or a number. So this is the most important thing to note in our questions. Why? Because if you exceed the word limit, for example, if you write like three or more than three words, what will happen even if one or two of those three words are correct? What will happen? Yes, your answer will be marked as incorrect. Why? Because you haven't followed the instruction word. So it's very important to note that. So the title says urban farming in Paris. So we know that that's the title of our passage only. Now questions 4 to 7. So this, let me change the color for this. So this just means this is the second set of questions. So from questions 1 to 3, this is our first set of questions. 4 to 7 is our second set of questions. How we know that? Because total number of questions are 13. So these are from 4 to 7. Complete the table below in simpler terms. It's again, these are the blanks. So we have to write one word only. So we have to, you have to be very careful in this. You cannot write more than one word. You cannot write two words or three words. Here you can write two words plus a number if it is required, but no more than two words. But here you cannot write more than one word. You cannot write any number or that kind of thing in this particular blanks. And A to 13, so this is our last set of questions. Why? Because we know there are 13 questions. So A to 13, do these statements agree with information? So these are your true, false and not given. I hope you understood the types of questions we are dealing with. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna like just say read the first information, first paragraph, then we're gonna read the like we're going to try to solve these questions, and then we will read these, like if we are able to find fourth question here or not. If we will then read the fifth question, and then we will go to the eighth question if that information is available here or not. Because in reading it is not certain that sorry about that, in reading it is not certain that you will find first answer in the first paragraph, or second answer this first paragraph, or something like that. So it is not even guaranteed that these, like you will find first answer before the fourth. Why? Because every set will have its own set of sequence. These three questions are in sequence, so you don't have to worry about that, are almost always in sequence. Again, these questions are almost always in sequence, so are these questions. But among them there is no sequence. For example, first question may be in the first paragraph, or first question may come like here, like in the middle or at the last. Clear? Or you may have fourth question in the first paragraph, or fourth question in the third paragraph, eighth question may be in the first paragraph. So there are a lot of options, or lot of permutations and combinations for these kind of sets. So we will read the paragraph, then we will go straight to the questions. So or other thing you can do is you can be a bit more optimistic, read the first question of all these sets, try to mark the main important words, then read the first paragraph. So we will try to read the first question of every set. Vertical tubes are used to grow strawberries, blank, and herbs. So they're not talking about that. There will be some sort of information on vertical tubes. These are our locator words. They are used to grow strawberries, blank, and herbs. So what kind of word do you think should be here? Yes, some kind of vegetable maybe, or some kind of fruit. So that kind of word should be here. Intensive farming versus aeroponic farming. Okay, so wherever we will get this intensive farming growth, wide range of dash is used, techniques pollute air. So wherever we will get information, let me change the color here. Wherever we will get the information on intensive farming, like being compared to some other kind of farming, we will know that we will have our information in that particular paragraph. And for this, urban farming can take place above or below ground. So we know the question is saying that this particular kind of farming, it can be done above or below ground. So wherever we will find information, right, you can do it on your rooftop, like above the ground, or underground, in your basement or underground level, something like that, or below the ground. So that particular paragraph will have this particular information. I hope it is clear. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the first paragraph. On top of a striking new exhibition hall in southern Paris, the world's largest urban rooftop farm has started to bear fruit. So they're saying that, let me change the color. On the top of a striking new exhibition hall. So we are talking about top of a building. We're talking about top of a building in southern Paris. There is the world's largest urban rooftop farm. So that is the largest farm in the world in southern Paris we're talking about, and it started to bear fruit. Meaning to say, the results are coming now. Strawberries. Okay, here is something about strawberries. So we have read about that. Strawberries that are small, intensely flavored, and resplendently red sprout abundantly from large plastic tubes. So now they're talking about the strawberries, and they're talking about plastic tubes. Peer inside and you will see the tubes are completely hollow. The roots of dozens of strawberry plants dangling down inside them from identical vertical tubes. Now we are talking about vertical tubes. Nearby burst row upon row of lettuces. Near those are aromatic herbs. There's herbs such as basil, sage, and peppermint. Opposite in narrow horizontal trays packed not with soil but with coconut fiber growth, cherry tomatoes, shiny aubergines, and brightly colored chard. So there's information of some other kind of items that are being grown on that particular farm. So we have heard read about strawberries here, where it was. Yeah, we have read about strawberries, we have read about herbs, we have read about vertical tubes. So obviously your answer should be somewhere here. Okay, let me do this. Now, I forgot to tell you, before to solve any question, I will give you around 10 seconds. And if you need more time than that, you can pause the video. And when you're ready with your answer, you can continue. Your time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is yes, lettuce. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. If not, don't worry about that. I will tell you why this is our answer, how we arrived at this answer. Just let me mark this answer first. So now, here they're talking about strawberries. We are growing strawberries in plastic tubes, obviously. And now they're talking about from identical vertical tubes. So identical vertical tubes, they are referring these identical tubes to these large plastic tubes. So they are like linking these two tubes by using word identical. Clear? So they are saying that there is a row of lettuces and nearby those and close to them are aromatic herbs. So these tubes are used to grow strawberries, lettuces and herbs. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the next question. Okay, sorry about that. So here, do you think we should read these question like wide range of? Is there any information of intensive farming here? First and foremost, tell me about that. Have you read any word related to intensive farming in this paragraph? No. So obviously we will not have our answer of question number 4 or so on in this particular paragraph. So there is no need to worry too much about that. Now again, is there any information regarding urban farming can take place above or below the ground? Do we know that? No, we have only known about this new kind of farming that is taking place on the rooftop. But can we do urban farming below the ground, or is it only restricted above the ground? No, we don't know about that till now. Clear? But okay, now many of you will be thinking it can be not given. I'm not discounting that. Yes, it can be not given. But what we will do is we will read this second paragraph. And even in this second paragraph we are not able to find this question, then we can read the second question. Or what you can do is you can read the second question, that is ninth question. And if this particular question is in this paragraph, you can definitely say it is not given. Let's read that. Some of the equipment used in aeroponic farming can be made by hand. Again, we have no information, we haven't read anything regarding this particular type of farming, aeroponic farming. So obviously our location has not come yet. Maybe the both of them are not given. I'm not again discounting that. I'm not saying it is not possible. You can have first two or three questions as not given. Okay, but we will not do read only first paragraph and start marking it as not given true or false. We will give ourselves time because we have to read a lot of paragraphs. Maybe this answer is in not in first, obviously maybe it is in second, maybe it is in third, maybe they are not given, and 10th question is in fourth paragraph. We will come to know about that as we will go on. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the second paragraph. Let me do this. So the second question is there will eventually be a daily harvest. So they're saying that now there will be eventually, meaning to say finally, like in the end, there will be daily harvest of as much as blank in weight of fruit and vegetables. So say they're saying that eventually such some amount of fruit in weight, so there in weight some amount of food will be harvested daily. So what kind of word do you think is best fitted here that will make it grammatically correct? It can be some kind of mathematical number, maybe as much as 20 kgs in weight, as much as cities, because it is in weight. So my mind is going towards some kind of mathematical figure like in kilograms or in maybe in tons. We can think, we have to think big, I believe. Maybe a 100 kilograms or 100 tons daily harvest, so that it will be, we will be able to satisfy our hunger, or we will be able to meet the needs of city population. Let's see. So the keyword is daily harvest also, and fruits and vegetables. Pascal Hardy, an engineer and sustainable development consultant, began experimenting with vertical farming and aeroponic growing towers. So here's something about aeroponic growing towers, as the soil-free plastic tubes are known, on his Paris apartment block roof 5 years ago. So this particular person, he's an engineer and development consultant. So this is his career, okay, profession. He began experimenting with vertical farming. So he started experimenting with this particular type of farming and aeroponic growing towers. So this person started these kind of things. So what is aeroponic growing towers? Soil free plastic tube. So these kind of towers, aeroponic farming, basically we do not use soil in this particular type of farming. So what we do is we like hang the plants or crops in air, so the roots are in air, they are not they are not touching the soil, or they are not in the soil. And we use spray, we use water, we use to spray water on it. To put it in simpler terms, the urban rooftop space above the exhibition hall is somewhat bigger. So this particular person, he started doing this, but now the urban rooftop where this experiment is being conducted is bigger than that particular place. 14,000 square meters, and almost exactly the size of a couple of football pitches. So that is the size of the urban rooftop. Already the team of young urban farmers who tend to it have picked in one day 3,000 lettuces and 150 punnets of strawberries. When the remaining two-thirds of the vast open area are in production, 20 staff will harvest up to 1000 kg of perhaps 35 different varieties of fruit and vegetables every day. So does it ring some bells? Yes. So every day here refers to daily harvest, and what are we harvesting? Fruits and vegetables. Now we know the location is in this particular sentence. So you have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer to this particular question, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is yes, 1000 kg. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. If not, again, do not worry about anything. I'll explain why this is our answer, how we arrived at it, so that you will be able to find these kind of answers easily. Okay, now here they're saying We have already established fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables. We have established daily harvest. We can do it every day. So daily meaning to say every day. And where it is, there will eventually be. Meaning to say, finally we will be able to do this. Here, when the remaining two-thirds of the vast open area are in production. So now we are not using the two-thirds of the vast open area. We are using only the one-third of the area, and in that one-third of the area, in one day, we are using, or we are getting this amount of lettuces and strawberries, this amount of food. And when we will use the remaining two-thirds, then we will get around or up to 1000 kgs of 35 different varieties of fruits and vegetables every day. So in weight, obviously we have to write something regarding the weight, 1000 kg. I hope you got it. And why 3000 or 150 or 35 is not our answer. I hope it is clear. So let's read the third question now. Okay, before the third question, do you think there is anything about intensive farming here up until now? Nothing like that. Now, have we read anything regarding urban farming above or below the ground? No. But have we read anything about aeroponic farming? No. Remember, we have read aeroponic growing towers, not about aeroponic farming till now. Maybe in the remaining sentences there may be some information regarding that, but till now we haven't read anything about aeroponic farming. So we will read about the 10th question after reading these sentences. Maybe in these sentences we may find 8th or ninth question as our of. Okay, let's read the remaining third question. It may be possible that farms produce will account for as much as 10% of the city's dash overall. So they're saying that it may be possible, like we are not so sure about that. It is a possibility that the farms, like urban farms, they will produce whatever they are producing. It will account for as much as, so the amount will be 10% of the cities. Now remember, apostrophe s means whatever the word is, it is related to the city. City is dash overall. So I think the word okay. First, I'll give you around 2 or 3 seconds. What kind of word is coming to your mind, or do you think can be here? Forget whether that word is our answer or not. We don't have to worry about that. We will find the answer in our passage. So, what kind of word do you think will be as our answer? Yeah, cities consumption overall, cities requirement overall, cities needs overall. Like it can match 10% of the city's needs, 10% of city's requirement, 10% of the city's, yeah, such that kind of, those words are coming to my mind right now. Let's see what word is actually our answer. We are not ever obviously going to feed the whole city this way. Now they're saying that obviously we are not going to feed the whole city this way, so we will some kind of percentage. Obviously, cautions hardy. In the urban environment, you are working with very significant practical constraints clearly on what you can do and where. But if enough unused space can be developed like this, there is no sorry about that, there is no reason why you shouldn't eventually target maybe 5%, between 5% and 10% of consumption. So here is something about 10%. So obviously our answer should be in this particular sentence, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is yes, consumption. I hope everybody arrived at the correct answer. If not, don't worry, I'm gonna explain it to you why this is our answer, how we arrived at it. Just let me do this first. Okay, so here they're saying that it is possible. So here they're saying that obviously we are not going to do this, but if we do this, so there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to do this. So they're saying that yeah, it is possible. There is no reason why we can't do this, but there is like no guarantee that this will be done at any cost. So they're targeting between 5% and 10%. So as much as meaning to say it is like the upper limit. So maximum you will be able to go 10%, but minimum they're saying 5%. But the question, it doesn't concern with minimum. So as much as dash 10% of the city's dash consumption, sorry, dash overall consumption. So they're talking about the overall consumption of the city. I hope it is clear. Let's see the next set of questions. So, have we read anything about intensive farming? No. So, obviously, our answer cannot be in this paragraph. And we haven't read anything about aeroponic as well. But firstly, we will be finding about this. So, okay. Have we read anything about urban farming above ground or below ground? Nothing like that. Equipment used in this made by, let me mark this. What's just 1 second, guys. So they're saying that equipment, some of the equipment, okay, some of the equipment that is used in this can be made by hand. Have you read anything about this? No. Let's read the 10th question as well for this. Urban farming relies more on electricity than some other types of farming. So have we compared any urban farming with other types of farming and it relies more on electricity? Nothing like that. So yeah, I'm not gonna read the 11th question just yet. We will go to the next paragraph and see whether we will be able to find aeroponic farming or something like that. So we have done our 3 questions. Let's go to the next paragraph and see if we have any answer in this or not. Perhaps more significantly, however, this is a real life showcase for the work of Hardy's flourishing urban agricultural consultancy, Agripolis, which is currently fielding inquiries from around the world to design, build, and equip a new breed of soil free inner city farm. So, now what are they doing? That they're saying that this particular person Hardy, it has set up a new company called let me change the color first. It has he has set up the new company called Agropolis, and it is now fielding like it is the best time for this particular company, in simpler words. This the methods advantage are many. So now they're talking about the advantages and disadvantages of the methods used by uh, Hardy in aeroponic farming or urban farming, you can say. He says, first, I don't much like the fact that most of the fruit and vegetables we eat have been treated with something like 17 different pesticides, or that the intensive farming techniques. Okay, now here we have read something about intensive farming. Let me change the color. So now we have read about sorry, we have read about intensive farming. Now we will read the question. Wide range of dash used. So for growing something, we are using wide range of. What kind of word do you think can be our answer? So wide range of techniques used, but here they're saying techniques pollute air. Okay. Here they're saying that techniques they pollute air. Let's see what kind of variety we are using. So intensive farming techniques that produce them are such a huge generators of greenhouse. So let's read again. First, I don't much like the fact that most of the fruit and vegetables we eat have been treated with something like 17 different pesticides, or that the intensive farming techniques that produce them are such a huge generator of greenhouse gases. So pollutes air, greenhouse gas. So obviously we know greenhouse gas just means air pollution. obviously. Now, our location, we have found the location, so the answer is in this particular sentence. So for this you have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is yes, pesticides. I hope you arrived at this particular answer. If not, don't worry, I'm going to explain it to you why this is our answer and how we arrived at it. So here they're saying how we write it pesticide. They're saying wide range of. So what does wide range? Where it is written wide range of? Yes, like 17 different pesticides. So 17 different pesticides. It just, in other words, you can say wide range of. So if someone has 70, if let's just say if a car company has 17 different kind of models, you will say they have wide range of cars. If a company is launching 17 different kind of mobiles, you will say this company has wide range of mobiles. If you go to a shop and they have 17 or 20 different kinds of dresses, but you will say they have wide range of clothing. I hope it is clear how wide range of is related to 17 different here. Now, let's look at the fifth question. Selection, quality not good. Now we are trying to select, we are trying to do something about selection. Now we're saying that quality not good enough. Varieties of fruit and vegetables chosen that can survive long. Now we're saying that we are choosing those varieties of fruits and vegetables on purpose. Let me do this. Those are chosen that can survive long. uh, Long shelf life, long time, that can survive for a long time. Okay, so it should be some kind of some related to time and their life, so that you can sell them like by transporting them. Let's see. I don't much like the fact that either they are traveled on average of 2000 refrigerated kilometers to my plate. Okay, so now they're talking about the selection. Okay, the distance, and their quality is so poor. Quality not good. So quality not good, here they're saying quality is so poor. So obviously this is our location, because the varieties are selected. So varieties, selection of varieties for their capacity to withstand such substantial journeys, or that 80% of the price I pay goes to wholesalers and transport companies, not the producers. So they're saying that the price there, it is going to wholesalers and companies and not the actual producers. So let me do one thing, because it will not be able, I will not be able to do that. Okay, so our answer should be in this particular sentence. So this is one complete sentence, and our answer is in this particular sentence. And you have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer. And if you are not able to find the answer within the allocated time, you can pause the video, and when you're ready with your answer, you can continue. And the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is yes, journeys. I hope you find the correct answer. If not, don't worry, I'm going to explain how we arrived at this particular answer. So, how we arrived at journey. So, they're saying that varieties are selected. So, varieties are selected. So, select under selection. So we know this column is under selection. So selection of varieties of fruits and vegetables. Obviously, we're talking about fruits and vegetables that can survive long something. So they're saying that that can withstand. So if somebody is withstanding something, they are surviving. So I am with, like, if somebody is saying to someone, I cannot withstand you, that means they are like not able to take them any longer. They are not able to survive in that particular situation any longer. So withstanding such substantial, so for substantial, they, for long, they have used the word substantial journeys. I hope it is clear. Now, moving on to the next question, number 6, sale. So now there is something about sales, purchases, dash receive very little overall income. So they're saying that someone is receiving little, very little of overall income, meaning to say whatever the income is, overall they are not getting that much amount of money. I think we have read something about that. So obviously the answer, eh, let me do this. The answer is in this particular location. I hope you will be able to find the answer quickly, and the time starts now. Time's up, and the answer to this question is yes, producers. I hope you were able to find this answer. So they're saying that 80, now how we arrived at this, very little, where it is written very little price goes to the producers. Yes, they're saying that 80% goes to the transport companies and wholesalers. And obviously, it is the bulk lion's share of the money, bulk portion of the money. It is going to these two particular places, like wholesalers and companies, and not going to the producers. So producers are getting little amount of money, so receiving little overall income. I hope it is clear. Now, moving on to true false not given. Have we read something about urban farming done above or below ground? Nothing like that. Equipment made by hand. We haven't read anything about aeroponic equipment also. Urban farming relies more on electricity. There is nothing comparison about urban farming with other types of farming. Let's see. Fruits and vegetables grown on aeroponic. Again, there is no mention of aeroponic urban farm. There is no mention of aeroponic farming. So we know from this we can deduce safely that we haven't found location just yet. So we will keep on reading. Maybe the answers are in the next paragraph. So we still have one, two, three, still have three paragraphs remaining. So we should not lose our hope. Let's see the seventh. Now, aeroponic urban farming. So if you read this particular type, this information, you will know that our location has yet to come. Why? Because here it is, aeroponic farming, aeroponic farming. So we haven't, obviously these questions may have true or false as their answer. Maybe they will be, maybe they are not given. So we will find when we will read aeroponic farming. Now, remember, in aeroponic farming, we don't have to find anything related to growth. We have to find related to selection. So the question says no soil used. So I am reading this so that I can find the location easily. Obviously, in aeroponic, you do not use any kind of soil. Nutrients added to water, which is recycled. So we are adding nutrients to water. So and that water is recycled. Now, for selection, produce chosen because of its blank. Here we are choosing produce. Why? Because that kind of fruit produce. So, but why? Sure, okay. One more thing. Let me help you with your vocab also here. Maybe it will help you in your task to writing. How should we read it? Produce or produce? Yeah, both are correct. Let me tell you this. You can read it as produce or produce, but in this particular sentence we will call it produce, not produce. What's the difference? Produce is to make something. We know, we have heard, or we all have heard about producers in the movies or something like that. So produce is to make something, but produce, what is pro? If you emphasize on the first syllable, produce, not produce. Produce is synonym for fresh fruits and vegetables. Okay, fruit, for fruits and vegetables, produce is a word. So here produce just mean what it means: fruits, fruit and vegetables. So fruit and vegetables are chosen because of its something. Let's see. Produce grown using this. So again, produce, not produce. Produce grown using this soil free method, on the other hand, which relies solely on a small quantity of water enriched with organic nutrients. So we have read soil free method, no soil used, water, nutrients added to water that is enriched with organic nutrients, pumped around a closed circuit of pipes, towers and trays, is produced up here and sold locally just down there. It barely travels at all. So now they're saying that this particular kind of thing, it doesn't travel at all. Barely meaning to say hardly. It hardly travels at all. So they are growing on the rooftop and selling down in the market. So it is not traveling like thousands, hundreds or thousands of kilometers, maybe 2 or 3 kilometers at most, or maybe 5 or 10 kilometers, but not hundreds or thousands of kilometers. You can select crop varieties. Now they are talking about the selection, so you have to be very careful about the words that you are reading. So your mind should be like active at all times, so you should know what where you are looking for the information. You can select crop varieties for their flavor, not their resistance to transport and storage chain, and you can pick them when they are really at their best and not before. So now they're talking about selection, when you can select and when you don't have to select them. So obviously our location is in this particular sentence. Now you will have around 10 seconds. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. The answer to this question is yes, flavor. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. If not, don't worry, I'm gonna explain it to you as always. Just give me 1 sec. So our answer to this question is flavor, and how we arrived at it. So they're saying that you can select crop varieties. So crop varieties basically produce for their flavor. So because of its flavor and not for the resistance to transport and storage. So we are not selecting according to this. We are selecting according to their flavor, like when they are at their best. So they, you can pick them when they are really at their best and not before, because when you're transporting, you cannot you can say pluck the fruit when they are at their best, otherwise they will over ripen during the transport, so they will be spoiled when they reach their destination, and you will be at loss. So you have to pick them before, so that's why you do not get the best type of food that you can get. I hope it is clear. So let's see if there is any true false here. Urban farming can take place above or below the ground. There is no mention about that till now. So let's read the remaining information. No soil is exhausted, and the water that gently showers the plant's roots every 12 minutes, it's recycled. So there is something about here. Water is recycled. So the method uses 90% less water than a classic intensive farm for the same yield. So I believe, okay, we haven't read anything about aeroponic farming. What kind of equipment are used for aeroponic farming? So let's read the remaining paragraphs, and I hope we will find our answers here. Urban farming is not, of course, a new phenomenon. Inner city agriculture is booming from Shanghai to Detroit and Tokyo to Bangkok. So now we are talking about urban farming. Let me change the color. So yes, urban farming. Here's something about urban farming again. So they're saying that it is not a new phenomena, meaning to say it is an old thing. Inner city agriculture is booming from, like, at these particular places. Strawberries are being grown in disused shipping containers, mushroom in underground car parks. So it's something about underground car parks. So here they're talking about the urban farming. Now, this is our location for this. Now, you have around 10 seconds to tell me either our answer to this is true, false, or not given, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this question is, let me write it here. Yes, true. Why it is true? Because they're saying that it can take place, okay, above and below the ground. So there's, okay, for below the ground we are able to find out underground car park. So underground, below the ground, okay, so we can grow mushrooms there. But where it is written above the ground? Yes, strawberries where we are growing in disused shipping containers. So those, if you have if you know about the shipping container, they are like huge block of, you can say, iron. They are huge iron blocks. So you are using them, and where they are placed, obviously above ground. They are not in the ground or below the ground. They are disused, so they are in some kind of junkyard, in junkyard, or in particular corner of the shipping yard, container yard. So obviously they are above the ground. I hope it is clear. So now we have to find some equipment is used, made by hand or not. Let's read the remaining information. Aeroponic farming, he says, is virtuous. The equipment weighs little, can be installed on almost any flat surface, and is cheap to buy. Now we are talking something about equipment. Okay, so equipment, the weight is not that they are not that heavy. They are light in weight. They can be installed on almost any small flat surface, and they are cheap to buy. Roughly sorry about that, 100 euros to 150 euros per square meter. It is cheap to run too, consuming a tiny fraction of electricity used by some techniques. So now, in this particular in these particular sentences, they are talking about the equipment. Now you have around uh, 10 seconds to tell me whether the answer is true, false, or not given. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. Okay, then the answer to this question is yes, not given. So let me do this. Just give me 1 second. This is something else. Just 1 second, guys. Let me mark the location, then I will explain why it is not given. So here they are talking about the weight of the equipment. Is it easy or not easy to install? And the, you can say, price of the equipment. Nowhere here they have talked about whether they can be made by hand or how they are made. So we haven't talked about their mode of construction. So that's why we don't know. Maybe they can be made by hand, or maybe they cannot be made by hand. They can only be made by machines. We don't know about that, so that's why we have said not given. 10th, I believe we have also already read that. So the question is saying urban farming relies more on electricity than other types of farming. So this is our location. So we have read about it. It is cheap to run to consuming a tiny fraction of electricity used by some techniques. So some techniques, other types of farming, and this is our location. So you will have around 10 seconds, and I hope you will be able to find the correct answer for this one, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is, let me do this. Yes, false. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. Why it is false? Because in the question they are saying that it relies more on electricity. That means it consumes more electricity than other types of farming. But here they are saying that it is cheap to run, so that we cannot do some. We cannot tell our answer by this only. So they are saying that consuming a tiny fraction of electricity used by some techniques. So the amount of electricity consumed by some techniques, this particular type of farming, that is urban farming, it consumes a tiny fraction. So tiny fraction, maybe 5% or maybe less than that, of the amount of electricity used by other types of farming. So it is consuming less electricity, not more electricity. So the answer is false. I hope you get it. Let's read the 11th question. Fruit and vegetables grown on an aeroponic urban farm are cheaper. So they're saying that fruits and vegetables are cheaper than traditional grown organic produce. So when the answer will be true, yes, when the fruit and vegetables cost less than traditional grown food. When the answer will be false, there can be two options: either the fruit and vegetable cost more or they cost the same. In both scenarios your answer will be false. And when the answer will be not given, when we don't know anything about the price, or there is no comparison, which is expensive, which is more expensive, and which is cheaper. Clear? So let's read the information. Produce grown this way typically sells at prices that, while generally higher than those of classic intensive agriculture, are lower than soil based organic growers. So this, there's something about price, and this is our location obviously. Now you have around 10 seconds, as you know, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is, let me write here, yes, true. I hope you didn't fall for the trap. The why it is true? So they're saying that fruit and vegetable, they are cheaper than organic produce. So here they have said, they have very cleverly put distractor. So they have compared the prices first with that of intensive agriculture. But we don't have to worry about what are the prices of intensive agriculture, because we have to find the price of organic produce. But they are lower than soil based organic growers. So produce price is higher than intensive agriculture, normal agriculture, in which we use pesticides and fertilizers, different kind of insecticides, pesticides. The price is higher than that kind of agriculture. But the question is asking about organic produce. For organic growers, the price is lower for urban farming. I hope it is clear. So these are the kind of traps you should be wary of. Let's read 12th question now. Most produce can be grown on an aeroponic urban farm at any time of the year. So they're saying that most produce. So what does most produce mean? Yeah, mostly, not all. So we can grow most of our fruit and vegetables on our on our aeroponic urban farm at any time of the year. Maybe it's summer, winter, autumn, spring, Jan, Feb, December, August, October, September. It can be any time of the year. Most of the produce can be grown. If that is the case, our answer will be true. But if most produce we can only grow during certain time, because otherwise we have to do something extra for that, then the answer will be false. And when we don't know whether we can grow produce at any time of the year or not, or do we need special conditions for that, the answer will be not given. Let's read the information together. There are limits to what farmers can grow this way, of course, and much of the produce is suited to summer months. So now they're saying that, yeah, there is some kind of limitations to that. What you can, sorry about that, what you can grow and what you cannot grow, and when you can grow it. So obviously, our answer is in this particular sentence, and you have around 10 seconds for this to tell me the answer, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to the question is false. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. Why it is false, I'll explain if you were not able to find the answer, correct answer. That is, so they're saying that most produce can be grown at any time of the year, but they're saying that there are limits to what farmers can grow, and most are suited for summer months. So much of the produce, basically meaning most of that particular thing, and it is best for the summer months. Now we cannot grow them in winter or other type of seasons, or okay, you can say weather. So summer months are best for most of the produce. Cannot be grown at any time of the year. Clear? Moving on to the last question. Beans take longer to grow on urban farm than other vegetables. So if beans, they take longer to grow on an urban farm than other vegetables. If that is the case, then the answer will be true. But if beans take like same amount of time, or you can say less time than the other vegetables to grow, then the answer will be false. And if there is no comparison between the time frame of the vegetables with beans, the answer will be not given. Let's see. Root vegetables we cannot do, at least not yet, he says. Radishes are okay, but carrots, potatoes, that kind of thing, the roots are simply too long. So now they're talking about root vegetables. So what they can grow and what they cannot grow, and what are the reasons for that. Fruit trees are obviously not an option, and beans. So here's something about beans. Beans tend to take up a lot of space for not much return. Nevertheless, urban farming of the kind being practiced in Paris is one part of a bigger and fast changing picture that is bringing food production closer to our lives. So now they're talking about beans and what we go get on our beans. So this is our location. We know about that. Then the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this is not given. I hope everybody arrived at the correct answer. Why it is not given? Because they're talking about how much space beans take up, and we do not get that amount of beans so that it can justify the amount of space they take up. So that's why they are like not the preferred option to grow. But there is no mention about the time frame, whether beans take longer, more time to grow, or less time to grow than other types of vegetables. So we don't have any comparisons. That's why the answer to this is not given. So I hope everything is clear to you. So how to do reading, how to analyze questions, how to read paragraphs, how to make a strategy to solve questions. So I have discussed such kind of strategies in all my readings. So if you there is any doubt, you can watch other videos that will clarify your doubt. And if still in this particular video any doubt persists, you can comment that particular doubt and we will be able to clarify that for you. So that's it for this video. Then I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.